The second part of our dates and times training in Excel you will find still in the same workbook, Dates and Times, in the second sheet called Dates and Times. So this is basically when we are working with data that is either we want it to be in a date or a time format. Now when you are typing out dates, there's many ways to do it. However, you need to make sure that when you input dates into Excel, Excel physically recognizes that cell as a date. So the easiest way to actually put in a date is to type it as follows. If we wanted to put in, for example, the 1st of January 2016, 1 Jan, and because we are working with the current year, you can actually just push enter. But if you wanted to put in the actual years, you could do so as well. And that'll automatically put it in a date format. How do I know that it's in a date format? If I click on the cell, you'll see that it says here custom. Or if I use my hyphens or my slashes, then it also goes to either a date or a custom format. That is when you know that Excel has recognized these as dates. If the numbers are not in the correct formats for dates, you will find that the problem you're going to have is that later on when you use them in functions or formulas, it's going to be very, very difficult. Excel actually defines dates by serial numbers. So if you right-click any of your dates and you go to Format Cells, and we change the number format of this particular cell to a general, you will see that the serial number for the date 15th of January 2016 is actually 42384. This is how I know that Excel has definitely received the input as a date recognized cell. The next thing you need to be careful about when using dates in Excel is when we start look at working with older periods. So if we're looking at working with the 1920s and 1930s, I would suggest writing your dates in full. So for example, I might write now 01/01/16, which is the 1st of January 2016. But if I write in there the 1st of January 30, which is 1930, I get the correct result. If I do the 1st of January 1929, be careful how my data jumps to 2029, and it's meant to be 1929. So when you're working with older dates like this, rather use the 4 characters for the date than just 2. On the note of working with times in Excel, it's very important if you're going to use your time data at a later stage in functions that you type them correctly. Now these examples in column E, cell 5, 6, and 7 are the correct ways of writing times in Excel. The first one, 1642, will tell us that because we are using a 24-hour clock, that is in the afternoon. However, if I had to put 4:32, which is technically the same thing, that is actually an AM time. But if it's fine and you don't really need to specify that, that's not a problem. But if you need to use this later in a formula to work out the time difference on projects or whatever the case may be, then it really is a good idea to use the correct 24-hour clock when working out and putting in your time data. Alternatively, if you don't want to use the 24-hour clock, you can just put AM or PM next to the date so that you're able to distinguish, and Excel puts it in the correct format whether it's a morning or an afternoon time.